Good evening. Tonight's lecture is on team building. A virtual team is formed through a shared purpose rather than a common location. Such a team can be separated by geography, culture, and possibly language. And as we've discussed, they often span the functional boundaries of the organization. In this setting, a virtual team must establish collaborative working relationships, which is difficult with a co-located team, but encounters additional challenges with virtual teams. For the circumstances encountered by virtual teams, Wyke and Van Orden from our readings recommend an entrepreneurial approach to organizing activities. Like new innovations, virtual teams are cross-cutting, and so the leader of a virtual team must deal with resources distributed across boundaries, including geographic, cultural, and language. Furthermore, the entrepreneur must be alert to discover and disseminate distributed knowledge. An important leadership trait for virtual team members and managers is the ability to coordinate knowledge distributed across functional boundaries. Entrepreneurship is a good metaphor for virtual team leadership. Just as an entrepreneur builds a business, the team leadership must build the team. Virtual teams start as distributed, often global groups of transient individuals who are assigned to a virtual initiative, and they must be transformed into a team. In contrast to a group of individuals, a team focuses on accomplishing the team goals. Team building motivates team members to work for the goals of the team, its assigned mission. An entrepreneurial approach is important to team building. When a group lacks team focus, each member is committed only to the task presented to them and pursuing their own interests. In contrast, a team is a set of individuals who have committed to accomplishing the goals of the team. The team members reinforce each other with their mutual dedication to achieving team goals. The purpose of virtual team building is to transform a transient group of distributed individuals into a team. Establishing trust is critical. A team building is an important management skill that includes selecting team members with the necessary expertise, creating trust and team spirit, clearly defining goals, and creating open communications. Team building is an essential skill for managing a virtual team. The core leadership challenge in a virtual team is to create trust across different cultures or business units. This is a prerequisite for bonding together the complementary skills of the virtual team members. In addition, assigning staff to tasks based on their expertise is more challenging with virtual teams because the manager does not have significant face time with most team members. Instead, a manager must have skill in selecting appropriate individuals based on descriptions in the skills inventory of a talent management system. Other important leadership skills are the ability to facilitate group decisions, ability to obtain accountability, and ability to communicate clearly. In a virtual environment, even slight misunderstandings can cause significant delays, so that clear communications are essential. Furthermore, accountability must be made on two levels: individual commitments and collective commitments. Consensus may need to be induced without a formal hierarchical authority structure. The organization's executives perform a critical role in the formation of teams by defining a strategic mission and by allocating responsibilities and resources to the various divisions and teams in their organization. So do senior level managers play a critical role by selecting an appropriate leader for the team and by providing links to a support network for the team. The team leader must select the right people for the team based on its mission and situational context. The team must define protocols and processes that optimize its effectiveness. 4 factors determine the degree of intellectual energy that will be generated to accomplish the team's mission. The first is a cooperative mindset. The second is boundary spanning. The third is an igniting purpose. And the fourth is productive capacity. Several practices will lead to a cooperative mindset in an organization. Top management should be a role model and cooperate amongst themselves. In addition, the organization should require cooperative traits in the people they hire. Once hired, new employees should be socialized into the cooperative culture of the organization as quickly as possible. Finally, a reward system should reinforce cooperative behavior. The creative energy of the team will apply to accomplishing their mission, which, as we have discussed, it's typically a strategic action for the larger organization. Typically, 4 viewpoints are used in executing such strategic actions. The first is learning and growth viewpoint. The second is processes. The third is customer. And the fourth is financial. These viewpoints, to some extent, will require input from the team. Learning is especially important. Learning enables capability in processes to accomplish the mission. Learning closes the skill gap so strategic processes can be performed. Learning is also important because it aligns the work of different individuals so they function as a unit. Without alignment, team members work at cross purposes and much of their energy can be wasted. Finally, learning is a socialization process to disseminate the common values of the organization. The economic value remaining for an organization resides in its future. Strategy is how you move into the future. White defines strategy as deliberate action to transform sensed opportunities into desired results. In an iterative manner, the strategic activity scans environments for information, obtains understanding from that information, formulates action to benefit the organization, and implements the strategy through an exchange of actions with the environment. There are 2 main aspects of effective organizational preparation for strategy execution. The first is creativity for innovation, and the second is administration to convert creativity into competitive activities. In general, encouraging creative energy on the team will support innovation. Similarly, the balanced scorecard framework provides the strategist with support for administration. Global virtual team management has a fundamental role in strategic frameworks. It leverages distributed knowledge to accomplish organizational goals. The balanced scorecard organizes activities to accomplish strategic goals. The balanced scorecard is a comprehensive system for delegating authority and resources to accomplish goals. It prepares business cases for resource allocation. It considers 4 perspectives to align the activities of all units in the organizational structure: financial, process, customer, and learning. Balanced scorecards are used to implement strategy, to orient teams who are working on strategic actions, and to align key management processes and systems to the strategy. It factors into the strategic action the fundamental elements of the change. And these are the financial objectives, which are productivity improvement and revenue growth; the customer perspective, which identifies the customer and the organization's value proposition to that customer; and the processes, the organizational processes that must be aligned with strategy. And there are 4 categories of organizational process that must be aligned with the strategy. The first is processes to manage operations. The second is processes to work with customers. The third is processes to innovate. And the fourth is processes to ensure regulatory or policy compliance. And when I say in the first process is to manage operations, that is to manage the day-to-day operations to produce the good or service for the customers as has been defined by standard operating procedures. Learning objectives enable all other viewpoint abilities. Saying in his classic work, The Fifth Discipline, asserts that successful global businesses are becoming learning communities, and that to truly excel, an organization must harness the learning ability of its staff at all levels. A learning community is an informal, cooperative relationship to share knowledge. Information technology can help at both a personal and an organizational level. In an organizational context, information technology applied to human resources is a factor establishing effective learning communities. Talent management systems are information technology applications that companies use to record the need for certain knowledge, to hire individuals with that knowledge, and to notify the company's divisions and virtual teams about those individuals. Different communities of interest can then span boundaries to connect with individuals having knowledge of value, fostering innovative thinking. More generally, as we have discussed in the past 3 lectures, information technology supports learning communities by increasing the flow of information across boundaries and by providing a shared digital space for exchange of knowledge that is independent of geography. In addition, information technology enhances collaboration in learning communities, enhances the ability to organize and search knowledge collections, and enhances the ability to present information, as we have used Blackboard Collaborate, for example, and you may have used Skype in your work groups, in your project work groups. Some of the information technologies to support learning communities are phone bridging, video teleconferencing, web conferencing, blogs, wikis, forums, emails, listservs, bulletin boards, web page publishing, calendaring, discussion forums, chat, document change tracking, and peer-to-peer collaborative technologies such as Groove. Any strategy will require learning, and so without a learning organization, you become mired in the past. A learning organization will organize a learning approach for teams to become competent with the tenets of the new condition or the new situation created by the strategy. Likewise, teams must embrace and extend the learning from higher levels with learning they identify that's appropriate for accomplishing their specific mission. Learning enables effectiveness in processes to fulfill the mission. It closes the skills gap so new strategic processes can be performed. Learning is also important because it aligns the work of different individuals so they function as a unit. Without alignment, team members work at cross purposes and much of their energy can be wasted. Finally, learning is a socialization process to disseminate the common values to the organization or the team. An organization will plan a series of activities to accomplish the goals emerging from its strategic framework. The role of teams in the strategic framework is to organize and execute these activities to add value to the organization. Through a communicating and linking process, an organization's strategies and goals are disseminated to all levels, including divisions, teams, and individuals. Teams will prepare business cases in terms of those strategies and goals. A business case can be prepared using a variety of methods. A popular one is the format recommended by Solomon, and it is organized into sections about the people behind the planned action, an explanation of the opportunity that the team is pursuing, an explanation of the context of the team's operating environment, and the risks and rewards of implementing the strategic action. A series of tools can be used to analyze the business drivers that affect the success of pursuing this opportunity. They include slope analysis, the conversion of various factors such as income, product curve analysis of the market drivers, identifying the market drivers and then seeing the directions they're heading in. Are they waning in importance, or are they waxing in importance in the particular market? A strength, weakness, and opportunity and threat analysis, a web analysis of competition, a knowledge value per employee, and pro forma financial statements based on reasonable assumptions. There's a shift in management decision-making to more robust methods because of the rising complexity, accelerating change, and uncertainty in the world today. A sense-making is a more robust decision-making process. In sense-making, first, an awareness of the situation is obtained, and then decisions are made. One of the initial cues in sense-making is that something in the world has changed and it impacts you. Sense-making becomes a continuous cycle of learning, analyzing, formulating actions, and interpreting the results of those actions. It's part of the organizing behavior we discussed earlier in the semester: retain knowledge, selection, and enactment. So, an essential step in strategic planning is a comprehensive reconnaissance of the environment. Strategic priorities would guide the selection of some information from this reconnaissance for further enactment. Several technologies foster agility in an organization to enable the development and execution of a strategy. Customer relationship management and enterprise feedback management systems are technologies that enhance the organization's ability to scan the environment to develop situational awareness. Organizations use tools such as customer relationship management to quickly sense the situation and to adapt rapidly. In addition, organizations need to know what customers and what non-customers are thinking. To accomplish this, they are turning to enterprise feedback management. Enterprise feedback management helps organize the data from external reconnaissance and integrate it with enterprise data so that the information returned can be used throughout the organization. This information provides context and situational awareness for the team as well. Besides training its staff, an organization is an open system that must continually learn about its environment and adapt its mission, strategies, and operations accordingly. To survive, an organization must conduct a comprehensive reconnaissance of the market and select some information from this reconnaissance for further enactment. The resulting knowledge must be organized and stored for search and retrieval throughout the organization. Customer relationship management and enterprise feedback management systems are technologies that enhance an organization's ability to scan the environment, to develop situational awareness. These technologies include electronic feedback, enterprise feedback management, and customer relationship management, and they have been applied to manage understanding the external environment. They improve the organization's learning by collecting knowledge into enterprise data repositories, such as the customer database and enterprise feedback management collections. These data repositories are an institutional memory of the company and a critical part of a learning organization. Populating these repositories with market segment information will help the transformation to a learning organization in the following ways. By capturing consumer information for analysis, by becoming a source of insights about competitors, by uncovering market changes, and by learning about market performance. To leverage this information from the external environment, the abilities of appropriate individuals throughout the organization must be coordinated. Knowledge management ensures that tacit knowledge throughout the organization is harnessed for others to use. Knowledge management is an unstructured delivery of appropriate information to a community. It supplements the more structured training approaches to learning. A third technology, an HR talent system, will help an organization identify critical skill sets across an organization so that they can be added to a team. A talent system is a must for identifying appropriate staff at all levels. To encourage innovative teamwork, the workplace should foster hotspots. One of Napoleon's famous dictums is, "Small plans do not inflame the hearts of men." Hotspots are teams of collaborators who are inflamed by an expansive vision. Teams become hotspots with an inspiring vision. Knowledge management ensures that the tacit knowledge of all people in an organization is harnessed for others to use. A talent management system will supplement knowledge management by helping identify critical skill sets across an organization so that they can add value to a learning hotspot. This supports learning enabling hotspots in an organization by providing a weak link to talent that would otherwise remain unknown. Knowledge management is a key facet of team learning that is based on information technologies. The third element of team learning is thinking insightfully. As with individuals, teams learn by doing. However, just as with individuals, learning by doing works best with simple systems. Simple systems provide immediate feedback during the learning session to reinforce or to discourage an action. With complex systems, in contrast, feedback for an action may be gradual instead of immediate. So in a learning environment, micro-worlds, as Senga called them, compress the time and space in complex systems so that teams can understand the impact of certain actions during the learning sessions. Micro-worlds are computer-based simulations and games that are now in widespread use in the learning and marketing and organizational environments. Primary one is the Army Expand and Conquer ABRA game. Boundary spanning is another important function for forming innovative teams. Innovative hotspots have members from different groups who do not necessarily start with strong relationships with each other. Such weak ties are often more effective for finding talent than asking people close to you about these subjects. Connecting to distributed knowledge is, of course, another critical success factor for team learning. A team must span boundaries to connect with individuals having knowledge of value. Boundary spanning is another requirement for team learning that is supported on the intranets that use the same network and microcomputer technology that's available in organizations today. Strong work associations will typically be with people who share your same knowledge domain. Boundary spanning through weak associations is a method for broadening the knowledge on your team, because you'll reach out to people you're not that familiar with who can help marshal processes and marshal techniques and marshal methods to help solve the problems assigned to the team that you wouldn't be aware of had you not reached out to these people who are not strong associates of yours. Certain traits are essential for a team leader in order to make things happen, and at the same time to make sense of what is happening. Foremost among these is a trait called kuder, the ability to understand the situation based on incomplete or unfolding information. Another important leadership trait is empathy to other viewpoints, so that different understandings of the situation can be incorporated into the decision making. In addition, the team leader must be trustworthy so that others will incur risk to accomplish the team tasks. Another essential trait for a good team leader is the ability to sense people's strengths and weaknesses, because team staffing is a key success factor. The team leader must be able to assess staff knowledge when assigning them to work tasks. In addition, the team leader must understand a person's motivation and determination to turn out excellent results. The team leader must be flexible enough to delegate authority to do work, yet retain responsibility for its completion. The principle of bounded rationality in the social psychology of organizing illuminates the need for delegation. Bounded rationality means that all of us have perceptual and informational processing limits. We may always intend to act fully rational, but we usually act on easy-to-get knowledge, use undemanding rules to search for a conclusion, and take shortcuts whenever possible. On a well-distributed team, hopefully not everybody will take the same shortcut, and more thorough analysis will be accomplished. In addition, the team leader should be a learner who is willing to learn from the situations rather than be defensive. They should have an orientation towards people rather than towards things. So they are then able to motivate, able to give constructive feedback, recognition and criticism, are able to teach and coach teammates to be at their best. The team leader should have experience and credibility in the mission domain assigned to the team. Additionally, they should be an exceptional observer and communicator. The organization must select the right leader. It must conduct a comprehensive selection process for the team lead, including the use of a talent system. Interviews for the team leader position should be structured so candidates are in a role for the virtual team lead. Structured interviews like this have open-ended questions with follow-up probes that may go into more detail. And this is the kind of interview where you tell the candidate, okay, imagine you're on a virtual team that is developing a mouse for the Kindle Fire, and you're going to be working with the Lenovo company, manufacturing company that is based in China. So you create a situation, you have the candidate act as a virtual team leader, a role in that situation, and then you structure questions on how they would go about establishing and managing such a virtual team based on the situational awareness provided to them during the interview. A virtual team scenario should be presented to the candidate, and then they would be asked how they would coach members for the mission, how they would assign the candidate, and then the interview committee would assign each work candidate work samples and evaluate their ability to communicate the work and their ability to organize an effort and their ability to provide a response. Then they would have the strongest candidates meet with executive leadership about the work. So you're going to be looking for a person who has a history of giving individual consideration. This includes coaching, teaching, and advising team members as they need it. Also a history of getting staff to use reasoning and evidence rather than opinion, because this type of intellectual stimulation is needed on virtual teams. Being persistent and dependable goes without saying. Flexibility goes along with any job today because of the rapidly changing world, but it's especially important with global virtual teams because they are the tip of the spear in organizations trying to make sense and successfully respond to such a world. Flexibility is maintaining effectiveness and stability on the team in the face of material changes. Of course, the candidates must have good judgment. They must make sound and objective evaluations of alternative courses of action, and integrity so that they adhere to a code of conduct. The organization must position the team leader for success. Executive staff should meet with the selected team leader to provide the big picture that the team will support. They should assign a sponsor to act as ambassador for the team to the executive management group. They should leverage senior executives as educators on expected organizational outcomes, and the team leader and senior management should jointly work out the details of the team leader's role. When preparing the business case, the team leader must identify adversarial stakeholders. Conflict is a common consequence for any proposal to change, including the implementation of a new strategy. One reason that change is resisted is the damage done in an organization by rent-seeking over time. Rent-seeking is the concentration of benefit and the distribution of risk. At a national level, the Wall Street bailouts are an example. The benefits are concentrated to a few powerful banks, but the risks are socialized through taxpayer bailouts. At an organizational level, rent-seeking behavior produces cults of privilege backwardness that resist change. The team leader will plan and prepare business cases for key initiatives assigned to the team. The team leader has a decisive role in defining resource needs and their allocation. These business cases support the planning that is a critical function in preparing balanced scorecards. In turn, the performance benchmarks defined through the balanced scorecards can be used to evaluate the expected value from each team initiative and prioritize them accordingly. Knowing the team mission, the key initiatives, and their priority, the team leader can start selecting the right people for the team. An important governing principle for selecting team members is the law of requisite variety. This law states that the variety of knowledge in an organization must be at least as great as the environmental variety that it is attempting to influence. Ashby gives an example in photography. If a photographer has 5 subjects, each at a different distance from the camera, the photographer's camera must have 5 distinct settings to capture all subjects with uniform density and clarity. If the camera has fewer than 5 settings, then it lacks requisite variety and will not register with sufficient detail to depict all scenes with accuracy. It's important to select the right team. In addition to the domains of knowledge a team member adds, there's a set of best practices for selecting virtual team members. Individuals selected for global virtual teams must have good communication skills. They must have empathy for understanding other points of view to prevent escalation of anger and bitterness from the frustrations of communication and collaboration over distance and across time zones. They should have familiarity with or ability to learn using virtual management tools such as teleconferencing, video conferencing, web conferencing, discussion forums, and document repositories. Since the team leader cannot closely supervise the members, they must have self-management traits. We're also looking for an ability to respond to difficult situations. Some questions you might ask in the selection process are, ask the team member candidates to discuss a situation where they had to think quickly to avoid bad consequences that seemed unavoidable. Ask them to discuss a situation when communications broke down and how they resolved or helped resolve the issue and what was the outcome. And finally, ask them to walk the interview panel through a typical workday. So in establishing the virtual team, you define a clear purpose in a vision statement or charter, define the necessary skills, specific knowledge domains, and also more general talents such as problem solving, interpersonal skills, ability to lead. Leadership is usually shared on virtual teams, so team members will often be asked to take leadership roles, offering guidance and leadership based on their expertise. Team members must be self-disciplined and highly motivated, and they must be able to learn new and usually simple technology. And then from that, you identify a pool of people with these skills and talents, choose the team, invite people, ask for volunteers, and ask for nominees. Okay, let's take a 5-minute break, and we'll reconvene after that.